Thanks for joining us for today's webinar. We're excited to explore how you can improve your airport website through human-centered design. It's great to have you with us today. Today's webinar will be approximately 35 minutes. We won't have a live Q&A after, but feel free to enter questions and comments in the chat and we'll follow up. We'll also be sending everyone a link to the recording. Today, we'll share how you can better understand your digital audiences and a passenger journey, and then we'll explore emerging trends and best practices with a lot of examples from leading airport sites. Finally, we'll touch on some future innovation areas that might be of interest. Although we're going to focus on the airport domain, even if you're not in aviation, don't worry. We'll cover human-centered design techniques that are useful across industries. Before we begin, let's do some brief introductions. My name is Ben Skelton, and I'm the Vice President of Habanero, and with me is
Kurtis Beard, Creative Director.
For those of you that aren't familiar with Habanero, we help organizations create better experiences for their employees and customers. This may include assisting an organization in better understanding and living their purpose and values, building stronger communications and community experiences, or creating exceptional customer and passenger experiences. A great example of this in practice is our work with Toronto Pearson on the torontopearson.com website and the GTA portal, an intranet designed for employees. We wanted to share a special thank you to Toronto Pearson. Today we'll be showing quite a bit of work we've created together to elevate the passenger experience. We appreciate them sharing what they're doing with the broader airport community. We'd also like to thank Sitecore for sponsoring this webinar. Habanero is a Sitecore partner, and we love building personalized digital customer experiences on the platform.
So let's start by digging into how you can better understand and empathize with your audiences. Meet Jane Monroe. Jane's ritual is to start her travels with a calming chamomile tea. She relaxes by listening to Enya on her way to the terminal. She's a driven and dynamic marketing professional with over a decade of experience in the fast-paced consumer goods industry. Actually, let's step back for a moment. We see many organizations using personas like Jane to capture knowledge and insights about who they're designing for. But we believe there's a better way. Instead of focusing on demographics and storytelling about a specific individual, archetypes can elevate understanding about common behaviors and the key motivations that drive these audiences to engage with your website. And to develop archetypes, it comes down to prioritizing human-centered user research. When we were redesigning the torontopearson.com website, we combined different research methods. We conducted in-terminal interviews so that we could get feedback in the moment as passengers are experiencing the airport, as well as listing labs where we could talk to passengers before or after their travels and observe their use of the website and other tools. And finally, we use stakeholder interviews to immerse ourselves in the business and understand the non-passenger audiences, particularly employees on the ground who are interacting directly with passengers. From all of this research, we distilled the findings down to 8 main archetypes. The first 4 are passenger-oriented: the careful planner, the pampered traveler, the hyper-connected, and the budget adventurer. Then we have the meter-greeter, who you can associate with pickup and drop-off. And finally, we have 3 remaining archetypes: GTA employees, employees of partners and vendors, as well as neighbors living in the surrounding communities close to the airport. Now let's take a closer look at the passengers.
Thanks, Curtis. For our passenger archetypes, we started with the archetypes included in the SITA Passenger Trends Report that were based on an international study. We augmented them with our research to extend them and tailor them to Toronto Pearson. Our first passenger archetype is our careful planner. They have anxiety and apprehension about the travel experience that tend to drive their behaviors. They plan ahead and often double-check every stage of their journey to prepare. This archetype can include passengers that travel with young children, animals, or passengers that have additional needs or require special assistance. Our pampered travelers help us achieve our NAR, or non-aeronautical revenue goals. They can afford a high standard of service, so are more relaxed, and they're not cost sensitive. They enjoy travel. They also look forward to their airline's status-based perks and personalized services. Our hyper-connected traveler is highly connected to networks and information. They leverage any available data or insight for greater control to create high efficiency in their journey. As regular commuters, they have a routine and get mildly annoyed with any avoidable friction or disruption. Finally, the budget adventurer is looking for memorable experiences and they're eager to try new things. They generally travel in economy and look for bargains. They're in the moment travelers and will often wait until they arrive to figure out their next step. When exploring archetypes, it's important to remember that they're fluid. So in other words, you might identify with a different archetype depending on the circumstances. For example, when I'm traveling for work, I might be more aligned with a hyper-connected traveler, while when I'm traveling to Europe for fun, the vacation starts at the airport, and I might be more aligned with our pampered archetype. Although I'm sure people I work with would likely say I fit the pampered archetype all the time. When creating your archetypes, you might also want to look at your priorities. For Toronto Pearson, accessibility is an organization-wide priority. We could have added accessibility considerations to each archetype, but we felt that wasn't enough. So we created a dedicated archetype to help us step into the shoes of individuals with accessibility considerations. Let's take a look at that archetype. A big part of understanding this audience is the idea that there isn't room for improvisation. They need to have complete confidence in the process, supports, and facilities available, so they're prepared. Let's take a look at the key tasks for this archetype. They include finding the appropriate drop-off location or parking, connecting with accessibility-focused staff, finding the person that will help them navigate the airport or help them with luggage, figuring out how far the gate is and if they'll need assistance, determining if their medical device can be worn through security and what the process is like, connecting to Wi-Fi, looking for accessible washrooms, assisted change rooms, and quiet spaces, and finding power outlets for charging. We have to remember, finding power outlets is important for everybody, but for this audience, it's really important because the cell phone is an essential tool to overcome barriers. Challenges for this archetype include inaccurate information or unexpected obstacles, long lines and waits, noise, busy elevators, long walking or travel distances, and being left alone in the arrivals area before pickup. Meanwhile, positive experiences include helpful and empowered staff, unexpected accommodation, needs and requirements being anticipated, accurate and complete information, and being made aware of changing conditions. One learning we had when designing for this archetype is that if we make the journey better for individuals with accessibility considerations, we were leveling up the experience for so many other audiences. As they say, a rising tide lifts all boats.
So with these archetypes in mind, let's jump into the passenger journey. There are a lot of complicated airport journeys, be it lost bags or new routes that introduce complexity. Today, we're going to focus on a simple one. In this journey, you can see that the experience is made up of 2 phases for a total of 6 main journey points. The first 3 consist of pre-travel, and the last 3 revolve around the passenger being physically at the airport. Let's take a look at some of the scenarios and tasks that a passenger would be looking to complete with support from the website. First, for travel planning, this could consist of researching connections in advance to identify the best travel route. It could also include researching assistance services so that the passengers with accessibility considerations feel informed and confident in the experience they'll have in the terminal. And it can also include exploring transit options so that the passenger can understand ground transportation options beyond the airport. For getting ready, this could include booking parking in advance for peace of mind. It can also include exploring how to navigate the airport through the use of interactive terminal maps, and it could also be continuing to explore assistance services. And if you're a careful planner with specific dietary considerations, researching dining options is another key scenario. In the days leading up to travel, scenarios could include checking flight information, getting ready for the airport experience by planning out how to make their way through the terminal, booking a lounge pass or fast pass for security, researching shopping and dining options, shopping duty-free online, and confirming their transportation option of choice. And once in the airport, key scenarios are checking live flight information and security wait times, getting support with assistance services, including porter or wheelchair, shopping and dining in the terminal, and navigating the airport in the moment. For the connecting airport stage, scenarios could include finding a connection guide or pre-ordering food through a service like Uber Eats. And finally, for the arrival airport, it could include checking live transportation information for the next train or bus, picking up duty-free shopping, and again, getting support with assistance services such as a porter or wheelchair. When we step back to look at the journey holistically, it helps us see the ecosystem of digital channels and touch points for the passenger. So for example, with pre-travel, we can think about the complementary role that social media, email, and SMS can play. And if we're thinking about the at the airport experience, we would consider everything from in-terminal Wi-Fi to digital kiosk. Another important consideration when looking at the passenger journey is device usage. Mobile usage is absolutely prevalent throughout the journey, but there are some passengers who conduct research on larger screens. When we began creating the new Toronto Pearson website, we reviewed the data and discovered that mobile usage was over 70%, and to this day, it continues to hover around 73%. This data informed our mobile-first approach. While we're committed to an exceptional experience across all devices, we begin with smaller screens first and gradually work our way up to larger screen sizes.
Now let's do a deep dive, starting with the travel planning stage when researching connections. I thought we'd start with the eChan Transfer Information Guide. The guide provides step-by-step instructions on how to transfer between terminals. It uses icons to clearly describe the steps, and there's also the ability to explore an interactive terminal map to provide additional context to key points in the journey. When we were designing the Toronto Pearson website, we wanted to create a robust connection guide experience to illustrate the connection process. This is useful for our careful planners, but it's also useful for passengers that have to purchase a connecting flight, and they're trying to determine if they should connect through Pearson or another airport. As you can see here, we're displaying the connection guide for an Air Canada flight from Heathrow to an Air Canada flight to Sao Paulo. This is a connection where Pearson shines. If you were connecting in the US, there would be multiple steps, including customs and immigration, and the requirement to re-clear security. However, in this example, you can see that the connection experience at Pearson is seamless. You don't need to collect your bags, you arrive in Terminal 1, you scan your passport at the kiosk, and poof, you're in your departure terminal. Nice and easy. You'll also notice that we're providing in-context information on what is available in your departure terminal, so you can check out dining options, places to shop, and other services. This is a simple scenario. The site also supports complex scenarios that may span different airlines in different terminals.
Next, let's take a look at researching assistance services. In the last several years, we've seen an increased focus in this area. In this example, we're seeing Istanbul's digital sign language service that's offered 24/7, and then also in terminal via kiosks. With the motto, Airport for Everyone, the Istanbul airport is prioritizing an accessible and independent travel experience. For Toronto Pearson, accessibility is such a priority and commitment that it's included in the main navigation of the website with its own section that details out all of the services available. And as you can see, there are numerous services and resources that range from Blind Square, a self-voicing GPS app for passengers with sight loss, to Language Line, a service for passengers who are deaf or hard of hearing. And then there's Magnus Cards, a life skills app developed for people with autism. It combines proven ways of learning with game design to help those using the app prepare for new situations, such as experiencing common airport processes. And beyond that, through our passenger research, it was very apparent how essential it is to see the features of facilities, such as accessible washrooms and assisted change rooms. so that passengers with accessibility considerations can plan and prepare accordingly. Likewise, if we think about other careful planners, such as those traveling with pets, it can be incredibly helpful to see photos of the physical space alongside the location details.
Now let's move to the getting ready part of the passenger journey, navigating the airport. Interactive terminal maps are essential, especially for our careful planners and those with accessibility needs. Let me give you an example. When we were conducting passenger interviews to explore how people planned for and book travel, we chatted with a mother of a young family. She was telling us that when they have a very early morning flight and are traveling with the kids, she'll often use the website to find a family-friendly restaurant after security that is close to the departure gates. The interactive map plays an important role in determining the terminal layout and the location of security, the chosen restaurant, and the departure gates. The interactive map is used in conjunction with the website to determine the suitability of the restaurant. An online menu is important, especially for those with specific dietary restrictions. When navigating a physical space, photos of the storefront are important as they provide situational awareness. Toronto Pearson has an innovative food program with some of Toronto's top chefs to elevate the dining experience. Although all our archetypes like food photography, it is especially valuable for our pampered traveler who's looking for an elevated dining experience.
Another consideration for the getting ready stage is booking parking. Here we have the Manchester Airport website, and immediately when looking at their homepage, you see the focus and emphasis on booking parking. And it's not just a promotion, it's a streamlined form that enables travelers to immediately jump into the booking process. You'll notice that they also have very intentional language around pre-booking parking to save up to 77% and reassuring language that states that cancellation is free up to an hour before arrival. Once the traveler gets into the booking flow, information is laid out in a clear, simple manner that allows them to easily scan and compare options based on walking distance and pricing. And again, we see this reassuring information around free cancellation, reminding the user that they don't have anything to worry about. It's risk-free.
Now it's a day or two before travel. Let's explore something that I think all of us have done, checking flight information. Here's the flight information page for KLM 1835 from Amsterdam to Berlin on the Schiphol site. The page presents the flight information as you'd expect, but it also has a step-by-step guide that walks you through the journey from your arrival at the airport to departure. There are several compelling features included with the guide. It predicts how busy security will be based on your departure time and enables you to personalize your journey based on the check-in status and baggage you have. It also includes estimated walking times. This is a careful planner's dream. The flight information experience for Toronto Pearson uses a similar approach, but includes the ability to explore services that are available when you get to the airport, as well as dining, shopping, and services available pre-security and post-security.
Let's take a look at checking predictive security wait times. This is the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport website. Here we've jumped into the security section of the website, and we can actually browse the different security checkpoints through this interactive map experience. The checkpoints are color-coded so that we can quickly at a glance see the varying wait times. And when selecting a specific checkpoint, you can see that they're modeling out the wait times over the course of the day, so that even if you're traveling the next day, you still have a frame of reference for what wait time you might anticipate.
Now let's take a peek at shopping duty-free online. Chani is known around the world for having great retail, and their online presence is no exception. Unlike many airports, they also cater to a non-traveler, but today we're going to focus on the traveler. The iShop Chani is a pampered traveler's dream. You can find exclusives and promotions only available at Chani, and pick up your items on departure or arrival, or even have them delivered to you in Singapore if you have a valid boarding pass.
Next, we have researching shopping and dining at the airport. Here we have Amsterdam's Schiphol Airport. This experience encourages exploration around topics such as culture, local Dutch experiences, and also family travel. This approach is compelling because it appeals to each of the archetypes. It supports the careful planner who's traveling with young children to find that spot for their kids to get out energy before a flight, but it also allows for that budget adventurer to find that unique, low-cost experience, such as the Rijksmuseum that's directly in the terminal itself. Moving on to Toronto Pearson, we have the Experience Curator. This was intended to break down any misconceptions about the lack of options, be it food or shopping at Pearson. As you can see, similar to Schiphol, this is designed to appeal to all the archetypes. And in this case, you can see how compelling the experience is for the pampered archetype who's looking to find that unique dining experience from Toronto's top chefs. Beyond that, you'll see categories such as luxury shopping, healthy options, as well as helpful baggage services such as storage. And finally, we have Japan's Haneda Airport. And what's so interesting about this example is the granular level of detail that allows passengers to truly tailor the experience to their unique needs. The passenger can select from early morning flights, restaurants with children's menus, and even experiences that can be had while watching the airplanes, which you can imagine appealing to that budget adventurer who's looking to take in every unique experience they can while at the airport.
The next few journey points all revolve around experiences at the airport. First, we have checking live security wait times. Here's Toronto Pearson's airport wait time dashboard. In this one place, you can find current airline check-in wait times, that is powered by sensors in the ceiling, security and customs wait time information, flight hold details, and baggage wait times and status.
Another area that's changed dramatically in the last few years is ordering food to your gate. In this time, we've seen the proliferation of apps like Grab at airports ranging from LAX to Changi. And At Your Gate has also expanded from LaGuardia and JFK to Denver. And what's so compelling about these services is that they give the passenger more flexibility and autonomy. Take a moment to consider a passenger who's taking longer going through security than they expected. This service gives them the opportunity to make up time by skipping the line and to place an order and instead head directly to their gate to meet a delivery person. They've streamlined their journey and still have all the options that the airport offers at their fingertips.
Next up is using a connection guide at your connecting airport. If you remember, we showed a connection guide earlier in the passenger journey. Heathrow takes a different approach to their connection guide and requires the date, the arrival flight, and the departure flight. Although this might be less useful months in advance when determining what airport to connect through, it provides a specific connection guide and exact details for your scenario.
When we think about the passenger getting to their arrival airport, one key role the website can play is offering live transportation information. In the case of Toronto Pearson, this information is easily accessible immediately from the homepage, where the passenger can toggle from train to bus options. Here they have the ability to see the next train departure times, as well as the upcoming bus schedules. From here they can purchase tickets, or they can explore more options by going to the transportation page for the full listing of routes.
Finally, exploring transit options from the airport. The Toronto Pearson site enables you to put your destination in, and it will filter the transit options to the ones that are applicable, so you don't have to know ahead of time which bus or transit option goes to which area of Ontario. Heathrow does a great job of putting together a door-to-door guide for transit, taxi, or auto. The guide presents all of the different options and estimated wait times for each step in the process.
Having now walked through the end-to-end journey, it's apparent how helpful it can be to orient around the tasks and scenarios that passengers look to airport websites to support. And by understanding the journey, we're able to see the relationships and dependencies on other channels, including Wi-Fi, email, or even digital signage. While this is a simplified customer journey, you can imagine how much more nuanced this can get when exploring more complex ones.
Now let's talk about 3 future innovation areas. The first is providing predictive insights to passengers. As airports capture more signals, we can start to provide increasingly sophisticated guidance. Everything from how long it will take to find a parking spot for a specific lot to check-in and baggage drop times for a specific flight. Of course, we'll also be able to provide estimated wait times for security and customs. Although this has a positive passenger impact, this can also benefit airport flow and NAR. For example, perhaps security and customs are expected to be very busy at a certain time of day. By incentivizing a passenger to arrive 30 minutes early, perhaps with a discount on food and beverage, we can distribute demand for security and customs and provide a benefit to the passenger and the F&B vendor. Everybody can win. Next up, Wi-Fi and location services. When you connect to airport Wi-Fi, we know where you are in the terminal, and we can filter the dining, shopping, and services to those available in your zone. Even more impressive, we could provide estimated walking times from your specific location and allow you to filter what you're looking for by distance. Most airports aren't using Wi-Fi-based location services in a meaningful way, but there's a lot of passenger value to be had in this area. Finally, service recovery. Many airports allow passengers to sign up for flight notifications. If we know a passenger's flight is delayed, there's an opportunity for us to surprise and delight. Perhaps we could send them a coupon for 50% off a specialty coffee to apologize for the delay. As you can imagine, this could be win-win, providing a better experience for the passenger while also increasing NAR.
Before wrapping up today's webinar, we wanted to leave you with a few best practices to consider. When thinking about your next steps, we think it's helpful to take a human-centered design approach. Let's explore what that means. First, take stock of the existing data and insights you have. Many organizations underestimate how much of a foundation they already have in place. Next, take the time to go beyond what we shared today to understand what other airport websites offer alongside the best-in-class travel website experiences. This always yields insights and inspiration that can be really helpful throughout the process. Most importantly, invest in audience research. Talk to your passengers and better understand their experience. Learn about why they use your website and the specific scenarios they come to your website with. With these insights, create archetypes as a way to amplify your understanding across the project team and beyond. You can use the archetypes we covered today as a jumping off point. Next, define your website vision and guiding principles so that there's a North Star to hone your focus. And shape experience outcomes so that you prioritize the areas that have the greatest impact on the passenger experience. And finally, develop a measurement plan with metrics that ladder back up to these outcomes so that you can confidently track your progress. We often hear that organizations want to understand where they're at today. And for that, we have a comprehensive website audit approach that takes the scenario-based lens that we've covered today. If this interests you, please feel free to reach out to Ben or I, and we'd be happy to chat further. Thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate spending this time with you.